Are you ready for more clearance from a heavy-duty AArm that's fully adjustable, easy to install, and comes with a lifetime warranty? Well, today I'm going to be showing you how to install SuperATV's heavy-duty, high-clearance forward offset AArms on the RZR Pro XP. So let's jump right in. The first thing we're going to do is remove our front wheels and tires. We've already done this, so we're going to go ahead and remove our cotter pin from our castle nut. Then we'll go ahead and remove our castle nut. Close our washer there. And we'll go ahead and remove our brake caliper bolts. And we've already drilled the rivets out of our factory AArm and brake line. So you'll want to go ahead and drill them out. They usually drill out pretty easily. I like to use about an 1/8 inch drill bit, just something to drill right down through the center, take a punch, knock them out. It's easy. So we've got ours disconnected, like I said, so we're going to go ahead and pull our caliper off. We're just going to kind of lay it down out of the way. We are going to be careful though. We don't want to damage it, the brake line specifically. So we'll go ahead and remove our hub. Got our hub removed. Then we'll disconnect our tie rod end from our steering arm here. We've already got our hardware loosened up. If you have issues getting your tie rod out of the steering arm, what I recommend you do is take 2 hammers. You'll lay 1 hammer up against your steering arm. Then your second hammer, you're gonna smack this hammer. Do that a couple times and it should come right free. That's what we had to do on ours. Then you'll just pull your tie rod up and out of the way. Then we'll go up here to our shock. We'll go ahead and take our nut off of our shock bolt. We'll set that aside. Then come back here to the sway bar linkage. If you still have it connected. I know a lot of people like to take their sway bar link off. Then we're gonna push down on our knuckle here, kind of wiggle our AArm in order to get our shock bolt out. And then I've taken a ratchet strap here, ratchet it around the cage, and I'm just going to pick up on my shock, pull it out of the AArm. Once I've done that, just going to get it up to as high as it'll go, tighten my strap up, and then I'll take my caliper and lay it up here on top of the frame just to get it out of the way for the time being. Then we'll pick up on our AArms and kind of wiggle them to get our sway bar link bolt out, just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the lower ball joint hardware here. Just pull our bolt right out like that. Pick up, wiggle the knuckle as you're pulling down on the AArm. A lot of times you can just tap it out with your hand. Then we're going to pick all the way up on our AArm. Slide our axle out of the knuckle, and then I like to rotate my tie rod so my stud's sticking up like this. And I just like to kind of let my axle rest right there on the tie rod. That way it doesn't have a bunch of tension on it or anything like that. And we'll go ahead and remove our upper ball joint bolt. Slide it out, slide our knuckle off. And once we've done that, we're going to go up here to the front fascia with a T40. We're going to remove the following screws. We're going to remove this one, and then the same hardware on the opposite side. And once we've removed the hardware, we'll just grab a hold of the fascia here, just pull it right off the machine. And then as you can see, we have some winch wires running down here. Just disregard those. We've previously had a winch on this machine. Main thing we're looking for is right here. This is going to be our upper forwardmost AArm nut. So we're going to grab an 18mm socket and an 18mm wrench. We're just going to go through and start removing all the hardware from our AArms. Then we're gonna go right here on our upper A-arm to the rearmost bolt. We're gonna go ahead and remove it. It's actually gonna be a 16 millimeter instead of an 18. So now that we have our nuts removed off of all of our hardware, let's kind of wiggle our A-arms, pull the bolts out, then remove the A-arm. We'll go ahead and set these aside. Same thing on the lowers. Wiggle and pop our bolts out. We'll go ahead and set these aside as well. We're gonna repeat all these steps except for the fascia for the opposite side. And now this is the time where if you're reusing your factory ball joints and bushings, you're gonna wanna press your old ball joints out of your A-arms. But today, we offer heavy-duty bushings as well as heavy-duty ball joints for our SuperATV arms. We're gonna go ahead and upgrade, so we're gonna show you how to install brand new ball joints and brand new bushings into your new SuperATV high clearance forward offset A-arms. So we've got our new ball joints here. We're gonna go ahead and flip our lower A-arm upside down because the stud of our ball joint is gonna need to face up just like this. What I like to do is I like to go around and make sure that my ball joint is as center as possible. Another thing you can do is you can also take a hammer, put your socket on top of it like this and give it a smack once it's lined up just to ensure it's gonna go in straight. I'm pretty confident I'm gonna be able to get this ball joint pressed in straight today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it laid up here on the press. And I have a piece of steel tubing here that's large enough that it's gonna go around the ball joint housing and where the ball joint's gonna come through. Then I just have another piece of steel here that I'm gonna sit on top of my A-arm in order to get it pressed in. And you can use anything. I mean, we could use this socket right here, anything that's gonna go around it. And it looks like we may have to end up using our socket because we ran out of room. All right, so now we're starting to press it down. A-arm's being held in place. I like to just go around and kind of take a look just to make sure that my ball joint's going in straight. And it looks like it's going in straight, so we're gonna keep pressing. But there's a part here that, if you know the sounds of your press, if you've used it a lot, you can tell if you're binding up, if it's in a bind, if it's about to, go in sideways or anything like that. So we're gonna continue pressing down and we're gonna listen to it and make sure it's going in straight. As you can see there, you could watch it and you could hear it. It went straight in, no issues. As you can see, you can look all the way around. You may have a little bit of fragmentation off of the inside of your A-arm there. That's pretty standard whenever you press a ball joint in. If you have just a little bit, now if you have an excessive amount, that's when there's an issue. That means you press your ball joint in crooked. So now we're gonna grab our snap ring and we're gonna head over here. So we've got our snap ring. We're gonna grab our snap ring pliers. Go ahead. Get it installed onto the A-arm. Sometimes you can get them to snap into place by hand. If not, just take a little flathead screwdriver and be super careful not to hit the boot and just kind of go around. Just kind of tap it down a little bit. Most of the time you hit it once and it'll go ahead and fully seat. Then just go around and look at it, make sure it's fully seated in the snap ring groove. Ours is, we're good to go. So here's the point where if you're taking your factory bushings out of your A-arms, you would install them into the new SuperATV A-arms. It's pretty easy to get the bushings out. All you're gonna do is follow the steps that we're gonna use to install the bushings, but backwards to remove the bushings. So we're gonna grab 2 of our bushings, we're gonna grab 2 of our wear plates, then we're gonna grab a sleeve. So first thing we'll install is gonna be the bushings. A lot of times you can kind of pop these in by hand. Like that one, make sure it's fully seated. Yeah, that one's fully seated just by hand. And then let's see. Make sure it's in the groove. Yeah, that one's fully seated as well. So now we're gonna grab our sleeve. We're just gonna slide it right in there, and you want it to be equal on both sides. As you can see, we got all these in with no issues by hand. Then we're gonna grab our wear plate, and you're gonna have a flat and you're gonna have a beveled side. The flat needs to go inside of the A-arm. And that O-ring should just snap right into place. We'll do this for both sides of the pivot block. So this pivot block's done. This is the easy one to do. Now this one over here, this is the one that can be kind of tricky to get. So as you can see, this one already has a bushing in it. Whenever you go to install this bushing, all you're gonna do is just tap it in from the inside. So you'll tap it right in, and then you are going to grab one of your internal snap rings. So, like I said, you'll knock your bushing right into there. It'll be the same bushing that you would use for the rest of them. It'll just look like that. Tap it right in, and then you'll take this snap ring right here, this internal retaining ring. You'll angle one side of it down into the groove, and then you'll just kind of rotate and twist until that snaps into place. So that is already installed on our AArm. There is two different kinds of wear plates. The wear plates that have the lips on them, like that, these are gonna be the ones that go into the smaller pivot block here. And obviously these only go in one way. This side right here is gonna go in to the AArm, just like that. And then remember, just firmly press on it. Make sure that the wear plate fully seats inside of the arm. So this AArm is done. We'll just need to install our grease zerk on the bottom. You'll just wanna install your straight on the large pivot block. It's super easy. Just take your wrench, your socket, just make sure you don't fully tighten it. So lower AArm's done. We're gonna go ahead and sit it over here next to the machine. And then you'll just wanna repeat all these steps for the rest of your AArms. So now we have our AArms all prepped and ready to get installed. Doesn't matter whether you start with the upper or lower AArm, either way they both have to be installed, but we got our upper AArm here. So we're gonna make sure that we grab the proper hardware. Now remember, for our upper AArm, the rearmost bolt is gonna be the 16mm head bolt here. And then we're gonna grab one of the longer you'll have two longer bolts. These are both gonna go through the longer portion of your AArms here. On the lower, it's gonna be a pivot block. Up here, it's fixed, obviously. So we are just gonna take it. So once our upper AArm's lined up and in place, we're gonna go ahead and grab our hardware. And get it slid into position here. With this rearmost upper AArm bolt, I like to barely get my thread sticking through. Then I grab my nut, slide it back there on the back side. And I like to go ahead and grab a hold of the bolt if you can get it to spin. Sometimes you can't spin it. Then we'll grab our front AArm bolt, just like that. And we'll go ahead and get our nut started out here as well. Now let's grab our knuckle. We'll go ahead and we'll slide it into position here. And grab an AArm bolt. Make sure it's all lined up. Get our nut started, just like that. Pick up on our AArm. We'll grab our axle. And we'll slide it right into position, just like that. Now we're gonna install our lower AArm the same way we installed our upper. Once we have our bolts through, we're gonna go ahead and get our nut started, and then we're gonna fully tighten the hardware that secures our AArms to the frame. So now we're gonna grab our lower AArm and go ahead and attach it to our knuckle. Just gonna slide it up here into place until the ball joint lines up. Just put your bolt through. And we'll go over here on the back side, get our nut started. Just like that. Then we're gonna go ahead and grab our caliper, and we're just gonna get it laid up underneath the shock, because it has to be underneath the shock for when it's installed. So we'll just kind of have it laid into place there. Obviously, we're not going to fully attach it just yet. Then we'll pick up on our AArm to line our shock up, just like that. Once we have our nut started there, we're going to go over here to our sway bar linkage. We're gonna line it back up. We'll slide our bolt through, put our nut on. We'll grab our tie rod in, slide it into the steering arm here on the knuckle. Go ahead and get the nut started for that. And we're gonna go ahead and grab our hub. Get it slid into place. And we'll go ahead and take our caliper, get it slid onto our rotor, get our hardware started for our brake caliper. We'll go ahead and grab our axle washer, as well as our axle capsule nut here. Get that started. You want to go through, fully tighten all your hardware, install all your cotter pins, repeat all these steps for the opposite side, reinstall your front fascia, and that's how super quick and easy it is to install SuperATV's high clearance forward offset A-arms on the RZR Pro XP. For more information on these A-arms or any of SuperATV's great products, feel free to give us a call at 855-743-3427 or check us out online at superatv.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.